Hey, so I wanted to give a follow-up video on my 10,000 swings video to tell you what was going on behind the scenes, the analysis, and what I was working on. So here's what I was doing before, is I would get to the top, and the first thing I would do is I would do the lateral bend, and then I would turn through. And that seemed instinctually correct to me because I wanted to try and hit more from the inside out instead of having more of an over-the-top swing, because I was working on having different ball flights and trying to get a draw, so I was doing that. And no matter what happened, with my irons it worked great, I could draw the ball beautifully, but with my driver I would constantly get this push. And no matter what I did, I could not correct it. I would change things and it would correct it a little, but eventually I'd always come back to this little push fade, which drove me crazy. So I had to really go through and figure out what was going on, and I finally figured it out. And what it is the sequencing of the hips and my shoulders. I'd worked on this before in my shoulder video, but basically what I need to do, or what I changed, is instead of doing lateral side bend and then turning through, is I turn the hips first and then I do the lateral side bend. And this is a really weird feeling. I think Monty, in one of his videos, he explained that that's how he feels. He feels like he's coming over the top and then doing this. And that's exactly what I feel like too. I hadn't seen his video yet, but once I saw his video, I went, oh my God, that's exactly it. So it's up here and then feel like I'm coming over the top and then do the lateral side bend. And that changed everything, and it answered a lot of questions that I had in my swing. So I wrote some of them down because there were so many questions. So it answered why my balls were pushing. So essentially, by doing the lateral side bend first and going like that, I was just getting stuck. That's all it was. So I was just getting stuck. Balls were going out that way. So that answered that question. By coming more over the top and then lateral side bend, I could feel my club path just being more straight, just straight down the line. Let's see. Another thing was the head dip after impact. So I looked at a lot of pro swings and even really good players, and I go, like Jamie Sidlowski, just a lot of them. Is how does it seem like when they go into impact, right after impact, their heads actually dip down? And Natalie Golbis is the real example of that, is they go down. Whereas for me, I'm always in this pulling up, and I hate that. I don't like that. I don't like this up. Well, I was able to stay down on it because if I'm coming over the top and then I go into the lateral side bend right at impact, that's where the head dips, right there. If I do the lateral side bend here, my head is dipped and then I can't dip it even more. It just, now it makes more sense to me to have the lateral side bend happen right later in the sequencing. So now I can get my head dipped down and it doesn't feel as weird. Let's see. So another question answered. okay, how not to stall my hips and torso right near impact and just fire the arms. So I had a tendency to, with this, is to just go like this, just turn through and then let my arms go through. And I guess since I was stuck, I was trying to, my body was naturally saying, I'm going to be stuck, so just let the arms go through to try and square the club face. Whereas now that I'm more over the top in the beginning, just turning the hips, now when I go to lateral side bend, it's this move right here. I don't know if you can see it from the back maybe. So I just turn the hips and then it's right through here. I feel like I'm bending. And it's in that bending motion that turns the hips as well. That bend helps turn the hips. So through impact, I feel like my hips are turning more, and it even shows on video. So it's the sequencing of the moves that changed everything for me. Okay, another one. I worked on this in my other video. Is I would look at my swing, and right when I'm coming through here, it feels like this shoulder was way backwards there, and this shoulder was prominent in the foreground. Whereas the pros, it seemed like when they're about here, both of their shoulders are square. They're about square to the camera. So I was always wondering how they would get so square. But whenever I would try that, I felt like I would come over the top. And I tried working on that in my shoulders video. Is keeping my shoulders more square, but what I didn't get was I didn't combine it with the lateral side bend right after. What I did was I would square and then I would just continue going over, which is more of just over the top move. And now it's the combo of getting it over the top and then right there lateral side bend, and that I could just see the club path just be more straight and not just pure over the top. So that answered that question as well. Let's see. Oh, another one is I always wondered how players like Rory McIlroy, Louis Oosthuizen, and even like Ernie Els, they seem to have this sort of, I don't know what it's called. Maybe somebody could mention what it is. It's sort of this whip through impact. It's they go through and then this arm kind of bends, and then it seems like they're almost pushing through. Like that. And I wonder how they do that, because the golf swing is so fast. How can you time that? And what I found is I can understand how you could do that now with this sequencing, because it feels like my right shoulder it's my right shoulder that's leading. When my right shoulder leads, then it's the thing pushing forward, and then naturally this arm just sort of springs out. So it's the shoulder that's pushing down, and then the arms spring through. So I can't really do it, but now I can sort of understand that mechanism, maybe try and work on it and think or understand how they could actually pull something like that off. So that's also interesting. It answered that question for me, I think, as well. Let's see, one last one for me is, another one is, yeah, this whole idea of pulling up after impact. So when I was doing this and then going through, and then I would jump up, and I hated this position of jumping up. Whereas the sequencing of over the top and then lateral side bend got me in more the feeling of pushing down and through. So my follow through is more over the top, lateral side bend, down and through, and then the club naturally pulls me up, and not this pull up like that. So it's a very different swing feeling from what I was doing before. So that also corrected that. And the last thing that I figured was I could never, right at impact, is push my head to the right, push my head back. You see a lot of pros, they come through and then they push their head back as they're going through. So with this swing with the lateral side bend first and then going through, pushing back would just make me lean back even more. But now with this more over the top drive with the right shoulder, I could see you're driving with the right shoulder and kind of using your head as a counterweight as you're pushing through. So even though I can't really do it, I've tried it a couple of times. I haven't incorporated it into my swing yet, but I could see now why the pros do that and they get that snap with the head. So that was another question that it answered for me. So this one just sequencing of turning the hips first and then lateral side bend just corrected so many things in my swing. So if you're stuck and your balls are going out to the right, maybe try this new sequencing. Really think about it. It felt very weird for me. It still feels a little weird. I have to go back to it. I regress often. I look at my video and I'm still doing this. So I have to say go over the top and then do that. So my sequencing isn't quite there yet, but it's getting there, and my swings are looking better and better, and the balls, especially my driver, they're going so much straighter now, and that's great. So I hope this video helped. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below.